Hey, how are you? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, I know you're not set to perform yet, but we are. We started a little. We got a little head start, so we're waiting for some performers to come on board. But let's talk a little bit to you. So tell us a little bit about you. You're one of our dynamic poets who's coming on board today. Tell us a little bit about how you got into your field and a little bit more about you since you're here.
Sure, thank you very much. Jason Bernard Humphreys Kinte. I'm the son of Bernard Humphreys. He was a scholarship winner from this Antigua. I'm in my grandparents' old house where my mother grew up in. Um, that's in Antigua in the Caribbean. My parents both were from Antigua, Canada. My dad went on scholarship. My mom was a teacher for a while and then went to Canada. And I think they call it chain migration, but with my mom. But my dad was with her, so he went to Canada and went to the university formerly known as Ryerson, called Ryerson anymore because they found out Ryerson was responsible for a lot of the in Canada, so they renamed it. But he went and did his Bachelor of Commerce there. I'm a scholarship winner. I did my Bachelor of Commerce at the University of Toronto on Black scholarships and a regular scholarship, the highest marks in the country, and basically that's what makes me to be right. I'm a scholarship winner, son of a scholarship winner. I create scholarship winners. I was
Oh, did he freeze? Gotta love technology, guys. I tell you.
Can you
Today's
hear
just
me now?
yeah, we got you. We got you back. Freeze it up a little bit, but I think we're gonna get it going. Well, I did hear he's in
And I
and
free
there we go. We hear you. Yeah,
to
the age of
2000,
technology.
2000.
Let's try if we remove you and bring you back in, see if that works. There we go. You're back. So I know you are going to be doing a poem today or a dynamic performance. So I would love to hear you tell us a bit about how you got into that field of doing poetry and how do you spur your creative juices?
Well, I wish the internet was more stable, but I
Uh oh,
and
Jason.
yeah, it's just inspired by God. That's all I could say. I don't know how.
Yeah, no, we're hearing you. So if you would love
Yeah,
to do, we'd love to hear your presentation. So I'm gonna leave the stage to you actually because it's your presentation. So I'm gonna leave you on stage if
sure.
you want
Is
to.
it for 15 minutes or like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yes, please,
Okay.
15 minutes you got, and
Yeah.
go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna leave you on stage. So we have Jason Humphrey right here.
Jason Humphreys Kinte. Um, we'll actually do an intro poem that my name. It's called They Called Me Humphreys, and it's from, let me see, I wrote this in 97 when I was on scholarship at University of Toronto when my name was Bernard Kinte Humphreys. And this is on my book course and freely the course. They called me Humphreys, slave with no brains. They called me as they shackled me in chains. My name's whips gave my vessels. The cage is now bigger and chains. But after over 400 years of slavery, rape, and murder, the title that identified me as European property. I remember my great, 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 great grand. Nah, I have no idea who he was. He did something great. It wasn't the same as when someone else does. If he did something great, his master got credit. Fame goes with the name. If something went wrong due to a mistake by his master, his black skin. The name got the glory. Was exalted. His black skin got the shame black. got assaulted. An innocent lamb accused, captured, and tried, who said he was innocent, but was said to have lied. Now picture a speedy trial, glaring injustices law, a losing defense, that innocent lamb convicted as charged. Now picture a people who call African names until they abandoned those for European, shackled in chains. Now before the jury, eternal sentence as European property. I will never submit. Oh yeah, you will. Others look back at graduation plaques with their name. I look back at failure and pain. Others look back with pride at their triumphant feats. At mine as theirs, while I only. Will the name Humphreys get for any good that I do? For my descendant Humphreys and not be sure who? Black skin to get recorded on film if I get recaged. Original Humphreys to say he had to ex-slave. You can't handle freedom, boy. Take say no. I will never submit. Oh yeah, you will. No, never. Oh yeah, you will. Hungry someday. They called me Humphreys, slave with no brains. They called me Humphreys as they shackled me in chains. When I called out my name, hips gave my vessels blood drains. The cage, and I have made some gains. But after over 4, because I call myself Humphreys, just a slave with no brains. That's my poem that I wrote in 97, I think, 97, 90. I changed my name to Jason Bernard from Jason Bernard Kinte Humphreys, because I was named after Kunta Kinte by my dad. And I changed it legally in Canada. So I'm the slave that got away and took his name back. Else that's named Jason Bernard Humphreys Kinte, the son of Bernard Humphreys, a Scot, right, from Antigua. And now I'm come back to Antigua. I sold my investment property I bought for $500,000 in 2016 for $1 million, and I retired. Now I'm renting my grandparents' old house where my mother grew up in Antigua. Dream, I'm literally living the dream, president of Dream Livers Club. I incorporated in 2018, and we're operating as penspowerclub.com this next decade. I'm gonna do another poem that started the Increase the Peace campaign in 2002, 1 year after I graduated from University of Toronto in 2001. It's called Maybe I. It's dedicated to, it's going to be pretty obvious who it's dedicated to. Maybe I don't know who I really am, and maybe you think you do, so an evil man, and maybe I play am the bad and be the that same G that'll mug you in the park, and maybe you that fills your heart with fright, and maybe you call the police on me. And they blast me in the head, and then they can't find the soul by thugs like me after me. They can't find the gun that made you run for them, and maybe now you may see that I may be, after all, a scholarship winner and not or another brother good at ball, but maybe I be a gifted academic working on a great equation to improve the situation for the poor in every nation. Maybe could bring peace to the Middle East, convince the Israelis and the Palestinians to resolve, and maybe that is impossible. But surely now we will not, and maybe you'll plant a gun hand because you're clever, so it be so grand that I'll forgive you in the end. For man whose only was to be your. It's called Maybe I dedicated to all the people that didn't, whether they're shot by cops or on the block. Because I was thinking that could happen to me in 2002. I've been pulled over and treated, in an incorrect way by the cops. But fortunately, I didn't get shot, but I made sure I did it in 2002 in case those lyrics would have to speak for me. So, unfortunately, shot and killed. I'm going to do one more piece. Have a little bit of time, so I'm going to do one more piece in this. Something that's not on my book course. I actually left it off because, I know that people adjust judgments, but I feel that people can. It's from 1998, October 5th. So I've been doing this a long time. Okay, my book course now. Well, in the pandemic, I released it. Right, it's got 25 years with questions after. I'm gonna start doing beats now because now I'm retired. I can have. So this is called The Enemy, and this piece, and it's deep. People have to really think about this. Okay. You should forgive your enemy. Your enemy is identified. Who are you treating like your enemy? Does the answer lay inside? The enemy causes death, has no self-control, is manipulative. If you do not restrain the enemy, life becomes disorderly. Slavery, the enemy is evil. You cannot let him take control. He is deceitful, treacherous, has no conscience. The enemy plays the evil role. The enemy power, money, and the pleasures of the flesh. The enemy is short-sighted, ignorant. The enemy has no depth. The enemy is a greedy, exploitive capitalist when he has money, and a murderous, manipulative Marxist when he is. The enemy ends the peace and happiness due to his selfish arrogance. The enemy is the reason humanity is in a sorry state. The enemy is the reason total annihilation may be our fate. The consumes and pollutes the environment. The enemy lets the starving die. The enemy only looks after himself and for the short term. The enemy is I. What do you do as you are your own enemy? Tell me, what do you do? The first stage is to identify the enemy, but what is the next stage? What to? Do you kill the enemy like we was being waged? But wouldn't that be the same as being killed by the enemy? Reinforcing the fact that you're the enemy, which takes us back to age. Do you lock him up in prison and throw away the key? Do in our society? Is that what I should do with me? In my mind or a certain part thereof, even though that would be hard? Then wouldn't the enemy be the judge, the jury, defense attorney, senator, and also prison guard? Is that what happens when people go mad? Psychiatrists say some can't face their problems and that's why they go insane. But is it they who were brave enough to stand trial? They the ones that face the pain? What should I do? I have him in my custody. Please let me know. I don't want to serve his wishes. I don't want to let him go. Do you torture the enemy? Answer for which I seek, for which I search, or is lowering myself to his methods? Would that be him torturing me with guilt? May it be impossible for me to be certain, yet I feel I must have. While I delay judgment, he continues inflicting pain and feeling getting a free ride. I don't want to lose hold of him. What should I do with him? Tell me fast while I'm still in command. He is cunning. He might trick me, convince me to be kind. I'm paralyzed by indecision. I do want to be compassionate. What punishment do you envision? I want to act more righteously than he. I want to understanding. Should I forgive the enemy? That is what he is demanding. Maybe I should. Maybe I should accept him instead of punish. Punishment and revenge is an unending cycle. Reactions, I should try to rise up. Maybe love can help to change him. Maybe then he will stop attacking. Or if not, at least then I will be innocent and my conscience will be free. I will not be complicit in any murder, unfair confinement, tortures will fill my brain. I have decided I will not see enemy. I'll love everyone the same. I'm going to set my enemy free. Who is my enemy again? You should forgive the enemy. Poem. It's deep. Okay, and my name is Jason Bernard Humphreys, who was a scholarship winner that went to Canada on scholarship from Antigua, right? And then and I'm finished. I retired in Antigua. My father came from. I feel a little bit like Jesus. I'm done. Thank you for having me.
Yes, Jason, amazing. Thank you so much for all those beautiful poems. And you definitely are a very talented young poet. So thank you so much for bringing that to the table. And tell everybody where they can check you out. How can they find your work? Jason might be a little stuck there. It's so funny how we're having all these issues with technology. Thank you, Jason, so much. We appreciate